Fitness doesn't have to be complicated or intimidating. Let's talk about it. This show is for beginners, people stepping into the gym for the first time, sorting through the diet fads, wanting to feel stronger and healthier. Well, here is where we get down to the basics: the training, the nutrition, the recovery, and the mindset. Leading the way is NPC bodybuilding champion and seasoned coach, here to guide us. Over the years, he has stepped on the stage at the Masters national level where every detail counts. His competition highlights include, out of his last 10 shows, two runner-ups and eight first place titles in circuits such as the Daytona Beach Classic, in addition to Orlando, Tampa, Atlanta, just to name a few, along with a host of other accolades, placements, and accomplishments. In his 50th year in the gym, training consistently. All aboard. Welcome to the train. Choo choo with Barry show. Hi, Barry.
What's going on here? Do we have any time left for the podcast after all that?
Okay, so all right, so we'll shave that down a bit. You
No,
you
no,
might
it's good. I'm just playing
it
with you.
might be going a little long-winded, but I mean, you got a lot here. I did shave it down. I mean, I shaved this
Oh,
down.
I know. I'm just messing with you, man.
Come on,
Make it a
we
little
could
bit
take the
light.
whole 30 minutes and we could just read the accolades.
Oh my goodness.
You think that'd
Well,
be a good show? Should we do that for
when you've been
Christmas?
around as long as I have, as ancient as I am, you hopefully you'll be able to accomplish something.
I'm still trying. I'm still trying. How was your workout today?
It's good leg day, man. It's good leg day, actually. Really good leg day. My legs have been really something I haven't been real happy with. I think we talked about it in the past. I don't know what really went wrong, what happened. Just lost a little bit of muscularity and vascularity, and so I got on this mission, decide to turn it up a notch and just focus and really work hard, and went back to squatting and doing some things I didn't have laid off doing. And yeah, they're back. I mean, they're not where I want them 100%, but they're getting really close. It's very cool to watch how you can make those changes and do what you need to do to step your game up,
Yeah.
um, to do that. So
Working on those legs. You doing
man,
so
you
what
need
do you
to.
do for legs? Just squats only, or do you actually
No,
do
no.
anything with the
Two different workouts. So I do a Wednesday, Saturday. On Wednesdays, I'll squat and do regular leg press, leg sled, leg extension, leg curl, lunges, that kind of thing. Step up sometimes. But on Saturdays, I do one-legged leg press, and I do hacks. Hacks is one of the few exercises you can do that works your teardrop. Each three heads to your thighs, and a lot of people neglect that. Most people just have a thigh. They don't really have an inner. I mean, the three heads that come out. And I've always admired that from a guy named Tom Platz back in the day, whose legs are just ridiculous. And ever since I saw his legs, I was like, I got to be like that dude.
Yeah, he
So I
was known for
followed
that.
his workout program and still do to this day. And he's got some intense stuff that he does, but he's big on the hack squat. And so I'm a big hack squat guy. I think it's a great movement.
I
Um,
remember seeing him on the cover of those magazines back in the 80s. I would say the 80s, but
yeah, yeah.
it's definitely one of those things you don't forget. That
Nah, if
guy's
you pull
legs
him
were
up and look at that dude's
incredible.
legs,
Yeah.
most people would be freaked out by it. It's a little much. And it is pretty intense, but his quads are probably the best there ever was in the
So the hack
game.
squat is when you got one leg behind you. You kind of you put the
No,
toe up on the.
it'd be like the leg sled, but it's reversed. So where
Oh, okay.
the seat is, it angles down. So it's a hack squat. You're still squatting in a sense, but it's a sled. So your feet are on a platform,
Hmm.
and the sled slides down, and it really, like I said, helps you to be able to work all three heads of your quad.
That's
So it's only, I think, the only one times that I've been at gyms, or when I had my gym in Atlanta and didn't have access to a hack, definitely can tell a difference in your quad development if you're not able to use one. So yeah, I'm big on those, and that's the only thing I change up. Still always do my leg extensions, my hamstrings, that kind of thing. My lunges, they could be walking, they could be in place, just depends. But I've been back to squatting, and I haven't squatted in a long, long time, just because my back, knees, just now all of a sudden I don't get too carried away. I was happy to like everything else I do, I was thinking, if I could just squat 185 again, I'll be good. Now I got up to 225. Dad went up to 265, and I got to temper it. But I mean, it's working, and I just don't want to get a point where I end up tweaking something. So I'll probably stay around the 275 mark and just be comfortable squatting that.
A
But
lot of guys skip leg day altogether. It's a big
oh yeah,
running
yeah, yeah. That
joke.
was always the always the ongoing joke. People who rarely do. Like today, I went in there. I was in there this morning. There might have been 15 people in there. I was the only. It's just me and legs, man. That's always great.
Just
No
you
one was
and
on any of my machines because everybody else was doing upper body. So, which is pretty normal. But I mean, I would say that the funnest thing to train. They're tough.
yeah.
It's a hard exercise, but it's probably overall the best thing you can do as far as it. Like I think I've said before, they say if you only had time to do one thing when you're in the gym, it'd be squats. Because
Oh,
squats,
really?
because they involve everything. I mean, obviously not. You got the grip in the bar. You're getting your lats involved when you're coming up. Your arms are involved. Pretty much your whole body. Your abs definitely. Your low back, your back. So
I
yeah, it
see.
doesn't really. It's probably the one exercise that actually engages pretty much your whole body when you're doing them. The risk reward is kind of what you got to worry about, and making sure you're um, doing
You're
it
not
correctly.
you're not overloaded,
And
Jerry.
I watched some people today. There was a young lady came, yeah, just squatting all the way to the floor and just crazy stuff. That
That's a
stuff is you
bad
could do when
place to
you were,
do ego lift. That's a
yeah, when
bad.
you were in your 20s you can do it. But I can promise you, and hopefully not. But if they do it long enough, there'll be some surgery in there somewhere. I can attest to that when I ripped my quad out of my kneecap, probably just from the crazy stuff I used to do back in the day
Well, I
with
mean, I remember uh, moving furniture and just doing that alone. You push yourself a little further than you probably should on things that you may be overloaded and
mhm,
shouldn't be, handling. And when you're in your 20s, like you mentioned, you can kind of push yourself to do it. It's
right,
almost a challenge.
right.
You don't see the future. You don't see that's you. It's so funny to think back on my mindset then. It was almost like it would never hurt me.
Yeah, it
And
wasn't even on our radar. Something you didn't even think about even getting injured.
yeah,
Now as you get older, man, that's pretty much what's number one because it's going to happen eventually. I was hearing a guy talking about the other day when you get over 50s, this big guy talks about not training, heavy. He's not a big believer in training heavy. I think if you're doing it all your life, which I have, I mean, it might be a little bit different. But like I mentioned a couple of weeks prior, when you're talking about tendons and ligaments, especially ligaments, and we got that concept of a rubber band, you can constantly just stretching that rubber band when we're kids, eventually going to give. And I think it's the same thing with what we're dealing with when you're dealing with, ligaments and stuff. I think it's how ACL, MCL, those kind of things end up, tearing just because of the wear and tear and
sure.
improper form or whatever the case may be. So yeah, other
Well,
than that, it's been a good week. I'll cover real quickly. I had a buddy of mine that Ben Barron, a good buddy of mine who lives up in Atlanta. I think Ben's like 78, 80 years old. And I called him this week just to like check on him, make sure all's good, because probably been 3 weeks that I called him and he said, yeah, man, I'm in the hospital. Guy had a stroke. And the reason I bring it up is just he's about the fittest guy I know. He's not a bodybuilding dude. But he's shredded. He's just lean. He eats just like he probably eats as regular gets. He's on a worse schedule than I am. I mean, that guy doesn't play, and his whole life he lives at home basically. Doesn't have much of an outdoor life. He's got a gym in his house. But anyway, he said, man, I've been laying in bed, Barry, 3 weeks. He said, I can't do anything. He said, I can't. They got him so now where after 3 weeks being on his back at that age, where you deteriorate that quickly, like we talk about, especially for people who don't work out. And he said, man, Barry, I'm just trying to get me out of here. They're supposed to get me out of here yesterday, send me to the Shepherd Center for rehab. I checked him on last night. He said he's going Monday. But there's a dude that will bounce back just because of his work ethic, his muscle memory, and things that he's done. Because when he shattered his quad 2 years ago, and I went up to help him out, he was on his back for a year. I mean,
oh
literally
wow.
in his bedridden for a year. Different things happen, and the quad didn't reattach correctly, so he had this space in between. She had to have a couple more surgeries, whatever the case. But he got back to where he was biking every day, and I'd call him up, "What's up, man?" And he's like, "Yeah, I rode whatever, 10 miles a day, 20 miles, whatever." So we'll see. But I mean, I guess I say that like we talked about last week, the fountain of youth. Here's a guy, he's definitely in the 1%. I think anyone else, if you think about generally in life, who especially doesn't work out or doesn't understand, and it could be anybody, the pain has a different pain threshold. Rehab's a whole different ballgame, man. They pretty much give up. I would think
Yeah.
more than a majority of people would end up being wheelchair bound, in his case. And we'll see, but I believe wholeheartedly this guy, and I told him I'd come up and help him out again and get him, back on his feet and just, help him with his food, different things till he's able to build his strength back or whatever the case may be. But I just thought about that after the fact that he's blessed to be in the position he is, to be able to have the opportunity to bounce back where most everybody, and I can speak from my mom, she was the same way when she broke her hip, she was done. She went from broke hip to, she just could not she couldn't handle the rehab. The pain was too much for her. She ended up being in a wheelchair. And I hear that story a lot for people. So anyway, I think another push for, the importance, young or old, why it is that you want to be in the gym, working out, that kind of thing.
Sure, that makes perfect sense. And speaking of which, actually, there was a few comments on the last episode. Remember when you said something about some lady would never ever make it? I think you said that in the episode. Didn't you say that in the
Was that
episode?
me? I couldn't remember as me or
Was
you. It was one of
no,
us
I'm
we
just
did.
only teasing. And it may not even be the same. I don't know if it's the same lady or not. There was a
Yeah,
comment.
Rosemary.
Yeah, Rosemary
Yeah,
Price. There's
yeah.
two comments here. One says, and this was a comment on last episode. So if you haven't checked out last episode, then you definitely want to do that so you know what she's referring to. That's what I needed to hear. How to go about weights is what she's asking. Talk more about using weights the correct way without hurting yourself, Barry.
Well, and interesting you say that. I'm gonna try. We haven't talked about this, but I want to throw that at you next week. I'd like to do this from like my gym here at the place I'm at. My end of it. We're showing correct form on different exercises and how to engage, make sure all muscles are engaged, and what I consider to be exercises that I see done wrong in the gym. Probably 10 different things I can think of. I thought about this, Dave. I don't want to say necessarily wrong. I say they're wrong, but there's still some form of the form. It's not terrible, but I'm talking about getting the most effect, the most bang for your buck as far as getting out what you kind of get out exercise wise. She also was asking about how do you know when to go up? And as I mentioned before, for her, or most people like her, especially starting out, 10 to 12 reps is a great gauge for upper body, 12 to 15 for lower body. So if she's going in and doing, as most people do, and she grabs, I don't know what she's getting. Let's say she's getting the 8-pound, 10-pound dumbbells. And she sits down and she does 2 sets, 3 sets, whatever she's doing, 10 or 12 reps of chest press. And again, first workout, that's fine doing that. It's the unknown. You want to make sure you come back the next time, you're not too overly sore. Second time you come in, you're going to work a little bit of the soreness out. But after that second time, third time, now you need to find out what I can do 10 or 12 reps for. Because most of the time, people are doing 10 or 12, but how many could you really do? You know what I mean? They're not stopping at 10 or 12. They are, because that's the number in their mind. But they could do 15, 18. I mean, hard to say what the number is. You need to truly find out what that 10 to 12 reps looks
So
like.
if you're able to do more than 10 to 12 of those 10 pounds, but just using your example,
Right.
then obviously you need to dial that up, because the sweet spot you're saying is being able to hit 10 or 12, and that being the max load for that set that your muscle feels
Right.
comfortable with pushing.
Right. But if you just sit and go in the gym, in my opinion, as we've talked about, muscle fiber, like I said. So when you do a set, you're kind of getting into a muscle fiber The heavier you train, the more muscle fiber you involve, the leaner you're going to get. So if you did 3 sets of 10 with 8 pounds, here's what you're doing basically the same 3 sets. But that second set that you were able now to get the 12-pound dumbbells or 15, you're getting more muscle fiber involved. So if you never try the 12s, it never, doesn't mean that she's going to do 10 pounds for 12 and then grab the 12 pound or 15 pounds and knock out another 12. She might knock out 11, 10, 9, whatever the case may be.
Is
But
that okay?
eventually, she's going to get that. I promise you, those 15 will become easier only because she's getting used to using them now. So then next time I would come in, I'd open with those 15. Well, once I did my warm up, you know what I mean? I would still warm up all the time with whatever that weight is, 8-pound dumbbell. It doesn't matter what. Just I want to make sure everything feels good. I don't have anything bothering me, shoulders, elbows. So I do the same thing when I lift. I mean, my first set is whatever that weight is, a set of 12 or 15. Before I go, 2 reasons. I don't want to open with the one, walk in the gym and grab the 110s and just start thinking I'm going to prep. You know what I mean? It's just overwhelming. But to open up, if I grab the 65 or 70s and just do an easy set, now when I grab the 110s, they aren't near as heavy, obviously, because I've already buffered them with the 70s. But I also know those 70s, everything felt good to me. But it's all relative to whatever it is you're lifting. But you always got to be trying to bump the bottom up, to put pressure on the top. So that's the easiest way to do it. The easiest way is, like I said, if someone's doing 3 sets of 10, next time I come in, I would try the 12s.
So
Before you know it,
you're bumping up your lowest weight and you're pushing up your highest weight possible.
right. So it could be, you might end up with a 12, 10, 8, 12, 8, 7, you know what I mean, whatever the number would be. But that's the only way that you're going to make, first of all, those 10s or those 12s easier. They'll never get easy if you never do anything more than 12. I mean, I'm talking about pounds. If you always do 12, 12s are always going to feel like 12. But if you tried the 15s and now go back to doing those 12s, they'd be like, man, this is a light. I can't even believe I used to, used to
Right.
lift those back in the day. But if you never try it or never go up, then obviously they're never going to get any easier. But that's the only way you're going to get leaner, more toned, more tight. And like I said, I have a lady I saw in the gym this morning. I've been watching her for probably 2 or 3 years. She's consistent. She trains hard, but she does the same weights every time she comes in for the last, honest goodness, 3 years. She always gets the 8 or 10-pound dumbbells. And her whole workout, shoulder press, chest press, side laterals, curls, everything she does is with those same dumbbells. And I noticed her today for the first time really deteriorating a little bit. You know what I mean? She's just not as toned, losing a little bit of muscle and losing a little bit of shape. She's probably in her late 40s, maybe. I'm not sure. But so again, that same problem.
That's the
She
same
shows
case
up.
that you're talking about in the sense of she's not lifting her max
She's
weight.
not pushing herself at all. She's just going in, getting it in, getting it done. Now, I would love to talk to her. Honestly, I've thought about it. It's a tough thing to do. I'd like to know what her mindset is. You know what I mean? What her process is and what her theory is behind it. Of why she does it. And she might have for her, it might be a logical explanation why she does it. But I'm not sure because she's so committed, seems like, and so, she don't play in there. She gets it done. She gets in, gets done. But it does all her stuff. It's just, I think it's probably like most women are just afraid if they go heavier, that they're going to get bulky. I mean, I don't know how else to say it or do it. I don't know. I'm not sure what other reason it would be.
Yeah.
For as long as she's been at it, because she's a seasoned pro, as I see it, as long as she's been coming to the gym. And easily 3 years ago, I first saw her in the gym.
Well, that's definitely something that my wife had mentioned to me about just a misconception that a lot of ladies seem to have about lifting weights is that she's the way that she put it is they feel like that could lead to like a bulkiness or something like that,
Yeah,
which
no, you're just going to be leaner,
yeah,
tighter.
right.
Um, yeah, just, but you got to be. I mean, some of those girls in there lift some. Um, I'm going to talk to a young lady that I see in there this week. I'd love to get her on our podcast, to be honest with you. So I'd love to use her when we do the demonstration as far as in the weight room. And this girl she's not a big, and she's tight. She's got some muscularity. I've watched her squat 185. I've watched her dumbbell press. I've still watched her bench press 145. And she's tiny, but she's strong and she's great form. Everything she does is just dead on. So that would be someone good for somebody to see and probably hear from her mindset. I was telling someone today, if I had to guess her weight, I mean, she weighs 125, 130, but I bet you if we have an opportunity to ask her, she probably weighs 160.
Yeah, you're not so good at guessing weight.
No,
We
because
learned that on
she
another
got a lot of
episode.
muscle on her frame, a lot of
Yeah.
muscle. So anyway, but she would be someone good. There's a lot of girls out there that you'll see in the gym, but there's some girls that push some pretty good weight, and it just makes them just more defined, more lean, more tight.
Yeah, for
The
sure.
bulky thing just doesn't happen. You got to
Doesn't
get
happen.
into better chemistry to make that happen.
That's right, a misconception. But there's another that leads me to another reply here or a comment that we got on a video. This one is from Reg Drapo. Do you know Reg?
Yeah. He's a guy. Remember, I told you Sarasota.
That's right. Okay. He says, Barry, giving you a thumbs up using the Lose It app that you recommended. The last time I used the Lose It app was 6 years ago. I lost 25 pounds, but it was a real struggle. I was lucky if I lost half a pound to 1 pound per week. It took me all of about 6 to 8 months to lose that weight, even though I work out very steadily. So I started the Lose It app again 4 weeks ago, trying to focus on the 40% protein, 40% carb, 30% fat recommendation. Let us know if I do not have these percentages right. But I lost close to 4 pounds in 2 weeks. So I was encouraged. Fast forward a week or so later, I gained 2.4 pounds and I'm working out 4 to 6 days a week. What the heck? Could it be muscle gain at my age? I'm 62. I was a bit discouraged, but I decided to keep persevering, trying to spread my food intake to about times a day. This morning, to my surprise, I'm down over 7 pounds in 4 weeks. I do struggle a little keeping the fat percentage and carb percentage at the percentage range that you recommended. Protein is not a problem, but I'm working on that. So thank you for your help and sharing your knowledge with us.
Now,
So yeah, he looks like he's having some pretty good results.
is that 40-40? Was it 30 he said, or 40-40-20?
Let's see here. He said 40, 40, 30.
Yeah, so it'd have to be 40-40-20 because obviously 40-40-30 brings him at 10%.
Oh yeah.
So that would be, he might need to look at that, but it needs to be number one. Number two, as far as the muscle thing, I will address because that's the first thing everyone's going to see, especially newbies who work out. They will see actually probably the scale go up before to go down. As far as him putting on
Really?
muscle at 62, his problem has never been working out, as you hear. When he talks about working out 4 to 6 days a week, he's been doing that as long as I've known him.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's four to
And
six.
so he's committed. He trains heavy. He trains hard. But when you don't have your food right and you're not repairing and rebuilding the muscle you're breaking down because his diet was all over the place, then it is a struggle because you're not going to put on any muscle. If anything, like we talked about in the past, you probably lose muscle. So for him now to have this part, the nutrition down where he's following it, yeah, he's going to put on easily. I can see where you put on 2 to 4 pounds of muscle from the get go. Now, does it continue? No, obviously not. But from the beginning, it will go up, and then you'll start. He's perfect example of what you'll see: 2 to 4 pounds of muscle, and now he's down 7 pounds because eventually, once that flips and he gets his food right and his metabolism starts functioning, his fireplace starts burning. Now he's going to start burning fat even more efficiently. So
Wow,
yeah,
that's
he's
incredible.
dead on and that's what's cool about that. I mean, good for him that he's actually doing it,
Right.
um, and following it, because it's the best gauge you could possibly have if you're serious about it, of keeping you in check on what you need to do and should do.
Well, he's got a
Um,
great foundation. It seems like he's got a great a workout habit. He's got a 4 to 6 days a week is pretty good. And the addition of using that Lose It app to help him dial in that nutrition, it looks like that's the part that's really putting the thing together for him.
Final touches. But
Yeah.
again, for him and probably most people, definitely for him, that's always been his struggle, is the food part. It's never been training. That guy, as long as I've known him, he's got a pretty phenomenal gym, and not just a regular garage. I want to say he's got like this shed, and he's got a bunch of, he's got, it's like a full-fledged gym in there. It could be 30 degrees out there. It could be 130 degrees out there. He still goes out in that gym and trains. So training is not an issue, as it is for most people. It's the battle of food, especially as what we're getting ready to come up on the holidays. And they say the average person gains 10 pounds during the holidays.
Oh,
You
come
know,
on,
and I don't
man.
change. It's hard. Look, I get it. I don't really change and do anything different. Like, I'm already trying to think about what I want. As much as I'd like to, Thanksgiving. Yeah, could I splurge? Yeah, I guess I could. I just don't. I just do what I do. Again, because I want to eat my second Thanksgiving meal. You know what I mean? 2.5, 3 hours later, I don't want to be so bloated I can't eat. So I don't really change anything through the holidays. I don't get caught up in desserts or people doing things like that. I just, again, I'm not making it light. I'm not making it easy. I just think you just got, if you're aware of it, um, and you're serious about it, then you got to, choose your battles in a sense. But again, to have, like he was also asking me about sweets, as like you were, and that's where you do um, the puddings, the yogurts, the different things like that, as far as kind of squench that sweet tooth in a sense. Or could be like, yeah, again, there's some really good protein bars out you can find. They just came out. Quest is a really good protein powder company, and they have Quest bars are really, really good bars. They probably have about 30 different varieties. They just came out with some M&Ms, high protein. I call them M&Ms, but they look like they're just a bag of M&Ms,
Yeah.
but they got like 10 grams of protein in them.
Yeah.
So I bought a box, and they're freaking pretty good. I mean, they're now again, same thing with that. I'm giving more away. I think I've had them now 3 weeks. I ate one bag. The guilt, man, just even for those don't allow me to do it.
Right, right,
But
right. But I mean, with the internet, there's so many different recipes out here for getting your protein in, or for getting a meal in a dessert type flavor profile with
yeah,
with
100%.
strong protein and strong. I mean, there's all kinds of recipes. My wife shares them with me all the time on Instagram and on TikTok. With there's one that she follows called Shuggy Addict,
Uh huh.
and Shuggy is shredded. She's shredded, and her thing is cottage cheese. She's
Yeah.
got so many recipes using
She's
that
good,
cottage
man.
cheese, and she's telling you that this is her secret. So, I mean, just the internet just is a wealth of information, I think, in helping kind of hit that sweet tooth, but still hitting your numbers here
Yes, it's
because,
about still having your dinner,
yeah,
still eating your meals, and afterwards you feel like an hour later you want a cookie out of the cupboard, or you want whatever slim piece of pie, whatever. Have it. You know what I mean? I don't. I mean, the key is not letting it cause you to miss a meal or not be hungry for your next meal, but to have a little bit of something, whatever, if that what works for you. Look, as I've said in the past, it's a blip on your radar. It's not going to kill you.
right.
So, that's just something you got to just be aware of. Like I said, now that the holidays, like I said, that's a big, they say, that 10 pounds is real. You can see it on a lot of different people. So,
Well, let me.
yeah, but
I kind of want to go back to Rosemary because you mentioned something in your reply there to her that I thought was interesting. I mean, the show is about beginner fitness, and one of the things that you mentioned was the warm up. And you said, and maybe that's something we should talk about, just a little bit more about a warm up, what a proper warm up is, what you're actually looking for, because you mentioned a few things that I thought were interesting. You're looking to see if your joints feel good. You're just checking a specific. It's almost like a diagnostic. It
Yeah, it's
almost
a
seems
sound
like.
check. I call it a sound check, just music sound check. Band who shows up early gets their stuff right. So my first set of whatever I'm doing will always be a lighter weight, making sure my shoulders feel good, my elbows feel good. I ain't got anything, woke up and it's got me in a little kink or whatever, and I have to adjust my workout otherwise. Guys showed up. My guy trains with me some. Show up in the morning. He came in with a little bit of kind of like a little flare up in his forearm that affected his workout, and we had to adjust his workout, accordingly and stuff. So he can't fight through that stuff. Another guy who listens to our stuff that I train, he jacked his shoulder up a little bit. Not sure how he did it, but he did. And I think we've talked about him in the past. He was the guy that wanted to do 60 pound on his good shoulder and 30 pound on the other shoulder. And I'm like, no, you know what I mean? Just go 30 on both. You're not going to catch that up. But you got to train smart. I've always said the same. If it bothers you, don't do it. That's the easiest way that I've been able to probably stay as healthy as I have. I'm not a big stretch guy, especially at the beginning. Goes back to that same cold rubber band theory of
I'm glad you mentioned
even
that because I was going to ask you about stretching.
I mean, I stretch during my set and after.
Right. Okay.
I'm a big. I tell you what's helped me a ton. I did something to my trap neck when I was in Lexington 2 years last year, and I woke up the next day. I mean, I was jacked up. I remember I trained shoulders that night at the gym. Probably I went in late because I got into Lexington late. Probably trained like 9 to about 10:30. And I woke up the next day. I could not turn. I couldn't even pull the car door. That thing was wrenched. So I dealt with it all day. Never went away. I went back to Atlanta. My two clients that I trained there recommended their massage guy. Said, look, go see him. And the guy's not just a massage guy. He's like a freaking, I call him a magician. He's pretty good. But what he told me to do was to hang from a chin-up bar. To Barry, between sets, hang from a chin-up bar for just 5-10 seconds.
I've seen
Just
guys
hang
do
there.
that in the gym. Yeah.
And I do that now. If I do a set of heavy chest, in between my sets, I go hang.
Really?
And pretty much, I haven't had an issue with nothing. I do it on shoulder day. I do it on back day. I do it on arm day. I'm hanging a lot of the time during my workout, just hanging there for 10. It feels good, number one,
Right.
but I have not had an issue with that since then. He told
Since.
me he was telling me the way my body is built is everything is kind of rounded this way because being chest heavy and whatever and lifting weights. He says by hanging, you stretch yourself, getting your body back into proper alignment. And from that day he told me that, I've been doing it for a year. I'm a creature habit a year later. So, but as far as if you want leg day, I will always ride the bike for 10 minutes before I start, warm my knees up. I'm not walking in there, jumping on that leg press or anything, squatting, unless I'm warming my knees up. So I always warm them up before I do legs. Upper body, like I said, it's more about the weight I'm doing. I just start light on anything I'm doing. Once I know it feels okay, then I'll get into my workout. But if I feel something that ain't right, I either will change the workout up that I'm doing to something I know that I could do that won't bother it, or just whatever the case may be. I'm still going to get the workout in, but I'm not going to try to work through it. And now, again, back to my guy, I'm talking about jacked his shoulder up. He sent me his numbers yesterday for chest, and I asked him how his shoulder was. He said he feels nothing now, but it was messed up for a little while. It really was affecting his workouts, but you just he didn't quit training. I said, don't quit training. You know what I mean? It's about the blood flow. It's about working out, work around it, find stuff that doesn't hurt it, and do it. And he did that, and it rehabbed on his own, basically.
And don't let it
So
slow you down.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, you can't. That's sitting around home thinking that I'll go back when it gets better, doesn't hurt anymore. I think with the less blood flow and less activity, I don't know how long that would even take to do it. And even if it would. So, I mean, that's just my experience. So, but yeah, for her or anybody who's lifting, once you start building that base up, which you should and you will, go from 12s to now I'm doing the 15s, now I'm doing the 20s. You still want to do that first set of my guy today, that 74-year-old guy I trained, Dave. He ended up doing the 90-pound dumbbells today for chest press. Well, Dave Langer.
Yeah.
But he warms up with the 40s.
Okay.
Just make sure they feel good before he snatches up those. Then he went 40s to 75 to 90.
Well, that's the experience that we come here to the Train with Barry show for. And with that, the producer is flashing the light on us.
Come
So
on, man. Who
I
is
know
that guy?
we're just getting going. But Barry, one of the things that I didn't mention, if you'd like to support the channel, I already know you do this, Barry. These are for our listeners. It is a free way to support the channel is to like and subscribe. It costs you absolutely nothing. You can hit the notification bell and you'll be updated when we drop a new episode. Like I said, free of charge. Just hit that like button right there. And Barry, how can people reach out
Yeah,
to you?
yeah. Train with Barry. I think you got all this stuff on there. Like we talked about, send. If you got anything like Marianne, I mean, like Rosemary's doing, or Reg is done, or the other guy, a friend of mine, the other Reggie sent something this week. Reach out. I love. That's kind of cool to be able to address stuff you're going through, or how we can work through stuff. And like I said, whether it be next week, I'm trying to line up next week where we can do some in the gym stuff, demonstrate some different things that might be very helpful
That'll be
and
cool.
effective before
So
your workout goes.
tune in for that. And that is it, everybody. Until next time, say goodbye, Barry.
Goodbye, Barry. See you later, man. Appreciate you.